Hello everyone and welcome. President Biden will hold talks with the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in southwest England in a few hours' time. It's the start of his first foreign tour since taking office. Mr Biden flew into the UK with his wife Jill on Air Force One last night before going on to Cornwall for the meeting and the G7 summit, which begins on Friday. Now, the two leaders are going to agree a new Atlantic Charter. It is modelled on the statement that sets out American and British goals at the end of the Second World War. There is a focus there on challenges including climate change and security. They are holding the bilateral talks before the other heads of the G7 nations arrive on Friday. The G7, to remind you, made up of the world's 7 largest so-called advanced economies. Here are the flags: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK and the US, and the other EU member states as well. The main topics of conversations will be COVID recovery, climate change and trade. Mr Biden also expected to warn that the UK-EU trade war could endanger peace in Northern Ireland. Let's bring you more with our diplomatic correspondent, Paul Adams.
It's not every day the American president comes calling. Joe Biden, accompanied by his wife, touching down in Newquay late last night. A warm welcome at the start of a complex, challenging week of diplomacy. Earlier at RAF Mildenhall, a chance to mingle with American troops and set out his stall.
I'm heading to the G7, then to the NATO ministerial, and then to meet with Mr. Putin to let him know what I want him to know.
America, he said, was back, ready to work with allies to tackle coronavirus and climate change, and prove that democracies still work in the face of 21st century challenges. Mr Biden sits down with Boris Johnson later today. The president says America's relationship with Britain is still special. The Prime Minister says this is a big moment.
Don't forget, this is the first time in 6 months in office almost that Joe Biden, the US president, has been able to come overseas for a major trip. It's his first time on the European continent. It's the first time any of us really have been able to see each other face to face since the pandemic began. And, you know, the pandemic, let's face it, was a pretty scratchy period for the world.
Downing Street is talking of a new Atlantic Charter, modelled on the 1941 joint statement in which Winston, Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt set out their vision of a post-war world. It sounds lofty, but includes more immediate objectives, like opening up travel between the US and UK as soon as possible. Boris Johnson will also seek to reassure his guest that a row over sausages and the Northern Ireland Protocol does not threaten the Good Friday Agreement. American officials say their concern runs very deep. Paul Adams, BBC News.